What's going on, guys? I'm here at the Louvre shooting some amazing content with my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I am absolutely blown away with the footage I have been able to capture in this room featuring all the sculptures. The lighting is so amazing right now. It's coming in through these giant windows above, casting an amazing shadow. Come along with me as I capture some content here, and then we're going to go back home where I'm going to edit this footage with you guys and show you guys how I'm going to edit together a little reel as well as color grading it. So let's get into it. Okay, so now I am back from France. I am back in the States and I'm at my editing bay, and I had just unloaded all my footage from my Osmo Pocket 3 and I imported it into CapCut. So if you look into my CapCut, you can see all my different files that I did shoot here at the Louvre, and they look absolutely great. Now all this footage was shot in Dlog, but anyways, I wanted to jump into CapCut and I wanted to edit a little reel with you guys so you could see what it's like to edit together a short 40-second reel with the footage that I shot here at the Louvre. I am going to explain a little bit more into CapCut and some shortcuts I use to help you along your way, and I hope you find this video very helpful. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at my timeline down here, and I see my timeline is set to a frame rate of 30 frames per second, which is great for us because a lot of the footage that I did shoot is at 60 frames per second, so therefore I'll be able to slow it down. Also, I did want to mention I did recently start a Substack. It is colebalecki.substack.com, so you can follow along my journey over at Substack, and you can check out the link right here. On Substack, I am talking about filmmaking, whether it's the Osmo Pocket 3, the Canon R8, or anything else related to filmmaking. So I think it is content you're really going to love, so go ahead and check it out. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to grab my music piece. So I have this music selected here, and it is another classical piece, and I selected this piece because I thought it fit very well with the footage that I shot inside the Cour Marly at the Louvre. Very classical, and I'm happy with this music choice, so I am just going to drag this here onto my timeline, and now you can see that my music has been added. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to introduce the Louvre to my audience. So I do have a couple of shots that I did shoot in the very beginning when I was entering the Louvre because I thought this would be a great place to start for my short edit. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to scrub through my footage. So let's find a good endpoint here. So I think that's a good starting point right there. So I am going to press I on the keyboard, and that is telling CapCut that is going to be my endpoint on where I want to start the clip. And I just want to get a little rotation clip here. So let me end it back right before that person walks into frame, and that is going to be my out point. And now I'm going to just simply drag this onto my timeline. And because this was shot at 60 frames per second, I know I can convert it back to 30 frames by coming up to the speed tab here and just setting the speed to 50%. And if I mute all these clips, you can see that I do have a very smooth playback here, which is starting to look really great. So the next shot that I do want to use is this close-up shot, and it really is just going to be a cutaway shot from that first shot. So I am just going to grab this clip here and set it right there. So I am going to just play this here, and I am going to cut that clip there at around 1 or 2 seconds. And to do so, I am just going to drag this clip back. And then the next clip it is going to cut into is my close-up shot, but I don't need that much of it. I really only need a couple seconds. So another way to do this is you can press Command B, and that is going to slice the clip, and then I can just delete the first part, and it is going to just automatically go into the second part of that clip. But if I click on this again, I know this was shot at 60 frames per second as well. I can bring this back down to 30 frames per second, and it's going to slow it a little bit. So one thing I do have an issue with here is my first rotation is going from right to left, and my second rotation is going from left to right. So in order to fix this, I am going to click on this reverse button here, which is built into CapCut, and that is just going to simply reverse the clip. So now you can see both clips are moving from right to left, which is perfect. And then I would just want to add one more introductory clip here, and that is going to be of Arabica coffee. I did get a close-up shot of it here, and I'm going to use this clip right here. So I do have an endpoint already, and we're just going to in and out it and drag this onto my timeline. And again, I am going to set this speed to 50% because it was shot at 60 frames. And now we go from here to here, which I think really looks great. And I'm going to just bring that back a little bit because we don't need too much of this clip. And once I turn my music on again, you can see this video is really starting to come together with these first couple of clips. Starting to look really great in my opinion. One thing is this clip here isn't as stabilized as I might like it. Luckily, CapCut does have a built-in stabilizer, which is part of the free version, so I can just click on stabilize and it is just going to run through its program here and it's going to stabilize my footage. Now it says stabilization applied, so now when I play it, you can see this clip here is just a little bit more stabilized than what it was before. Okay, everything is starting to look great, and I am going to just mute my track down there just so I'm not constantly listening to it as we are editing. A lot of times when I am editing, I do leave the music track on so I can follow the music as I'm editing, but I don't want to disrupt my audio track that I am recording for you guys to follow me along. Now, the core Marley is a phenomenal part of the Louvre. In my opinion, it is my favorite part of the Louvre. And it really holds a lot of French sculptures and it lets in a ton of natural light and you're getting these amazing shadows, which is something I really wanted to highlight with my Osmo Pocket 3. Okay, so now I am going to go through some of these clips up here to see which clip I want to maybe start with. And I do want to start with a clip which I think is very dramatic, a wow factor, just because this is the first time that we are seeing the core Marley. So let's go through here, and I think I want to go with this clip here because it does feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statues and you are seeing the dramatic shadows, which I do want to feature. So let's just find a good endpoint here. Let's go right here. This looks like a great endpoint to start my clip. And then we're going to end it right there. And I am going to just drag this onto my timeline right there. And now you can see we're going from the Arabica shot right into the core Marley. And this clip here looks awesome. I love the shadows. Now, all these shots were shot using Dlog, and I am going to get into color grading here momentarily. And I am just going to zoom in just a hair just to get rid of that person with their cell phone right there. We'll go to 110, and that seems like a perfect shot to start our core Marley with. Now again, one more thing that I do want to do here is I do want to set the speed to 50% because I know it was shot at 60 frames per second. So that's starting to look really great. Only need it for a couple of seconds there since we are creating a short reel. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to introduce a shot of what it's like to maybe walk through the core Marley. So let me go through some of my clips here and see if we could find something that fits that. I really like this clip right here because this is the entrance that I came in. So this is the wow factor feeling I got when I first entered the core Marley. As you can see, I already set some in and out points, so let's go down here and add it to our clip and set the speed back to 50%. Perfect, and let's see what we can get out of this clip here. That's starting to look really great. And then we are just going to trim this clip a little bit because we don't need to showcase that much of it. That's starting to look great, and I do want to stabilize just a hair because it is a clip that I think I was going up and down with my Osmo Pocket 3. That's starting to look great. And now I want to showcase myself in the room, right? So I did set up my Osmo Pocket 3 and I did capture a couple of clips of myself walking throughout the room. So let's see if we can find one of those shots right here to add in. Okay, so this clip here, I did set myself on tracking on the Osmo Pocket 3 and I did get a clip of myself walking through that same room. So I think this is going to work perfectly. So I'm going to use the endpoint on this clip right here. And that looks like a great portion to use. You see myself looking up and exploring the room. And now I'm going to use the O key on the keyboard to get an out point and drag this through. And we are going to set this back to 50%. All these clips were shot at 60 frames per second, so I really want to take advantage of the slow motion shots. And I am just going to play this back a little bit here. So now you see the grand room, and now you see myself walking through it. And we are just going to trim this up a little bit at the beginning. That looks good there. And now the next thing I want to showcase is one of these statues looking up to show how grand it is, right? So when you're using an angle that's looking up, you are giving that shot a little bit more power, and I think that fits perfectly with this shot right here. So let's do a little in-out points. Perfect. Drag this in, set it to 50%. Looking really good. And this clip actually works really well because you can see at the end of this clip here, I am looking up. So it's telling the audience that I am going to be looking up at something. And then this clip here, I am looking up, and I am going to stabilize this shot just a little bit because I do think it's going to add to the overall quality of the shot. And you can see it punched it in a little bit, but not too bad. So that's starting to look really great. And before we move any farther, I do want to show you guys how to start color grading these shots. That way we're just not constantly looking at Dlog footage. So I am going to go back to my first clip here of the core Marley. I'm going to click on this clip, and if I were to color grade this going through CapCut, I would go to adjustments, and then I would probably go over to curves, and I would add a simple S curve to the shot here, bring down some of the shadows and bring up some of the highlights, but not too much. There's a lot of white going on here. And then I would go back over to basics, probably add some saturation to it, and maybe bring my exposure down a hair, just so we are not blowing out all of our highlights. And I am going to warm up this clip a little bit just because it really lends itself to the warm look because of all the natural sunlight that is coming through. And I am going to bring down the whites just a little bit so you can see kind of what this would look like before and after. So this is with the adjustments off and just the curve. And now this is what it looks like after. Now that is a great way to go about color grading each and every one of your clips. But I did want to talk a little bit about my LUT Pack, which makes this a whole lot easier. So if I turn off all these curves and the basic adjustments that I did make, you can see I did import my LUT Pack here, which features 12 LUTs, which I custom created for the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And I think this is a way easier way of going about color grading because you can simply just click on one of these LUTs that you think works the best and move forward with that, right? So for me, I am going to go all the way down to clean slate because I think this is going to look the best on all of these shots here, especially with the natural light coming in. And you might have to make a couple micro adjustments. So I am just going to bring the exposure down a little bit and warm it up just a hair. But as you can see with a couple of clips, I was really able to transform my footage from Dlog all the way to something that's looking great and able to use on all my other clips. So now if I just go to apply to all, it is going to apply this look to all the other clips inside my timeline, and now all my footage is starting to look really great with my color grade that I was able to do with my LUT Pack. And again, if you do want to learn a little bit more about these LUTs and check them out, you can check out the link in the description below. And if I turn my music back on, you could see that our short clip that we are creating is really starting to come to life once I added that color grade and added the music back in. Starting to come together really nicely, and I'm very happy with the way this edit is looking. But now let's add a couple more clips here that I did shoot at the core Marley at the Louvre with my Osmo Pocket 3. So this clip here I actually really like because you can see I am coming behind the trees, which kind of gives it a little bit of more of a parallax effect, and it is revealing two of the sculptures below. So let's do an inpound there, and that's out right there. And drag this onto our timeline, set this clip back to 50%. That looks really great. I love the slow motion effect I was able to achieve on this clip here, but we are going to just zoom it in a little bit because I do want to get rid of that guy walking right there. So if you zoom in and then you hold, you can actually rearrange this clip to the position you would like to see it in. So let's see how that looks now. That looks really good. I'm happy with that clip right there. Let's end it right at this music tone right here. And now let's come in and grab a clip of myself walking around the statues and kind of exploring them. Let's see here. So let's see this clip here we have. Let's see what this looks like. I do like this clip where I'm just looking off a little bit. So let's bring this clip in now. And shorten it up to that point that I just look away right there. That looks good. Let's bring this speed to 50% and see if we can shorten it a little bit more. I like that right there. So let's drag this clip back a little bit. And that's really nice because the rotation of this clip continues into the next clip where I am rotating around the statue. So if I play this back, you'll see that right here. And that is a soft transition that really makes these two clips flow nicely together. So now from here, let's kind of go out to a grand shot, right? A shot that really showcases everything that is in the core Marley. I really like this shot here because it really does showcase how big the room is that we are in. So let's do an in point there and an out point right after we get underneath this tree. And let's drag this clip on to our timeline. Set the speed to 50. It's very dramatic and I love it. I think this is a great clip to showcase how big the space is that we are in. Just going to drag this back a little bit here. Now this clip here does showcase some of the giant windows inside the room as well. So let's pull up a clip of this. I think it is going to go nicely next to this clip because we see the giant windows here and now we're getting a little bit closer look at them. Let's start the clip a little bit more farther down. So in order to do that, I am going to just split the clip here and delete this one here. That looks good right there in my opinion. Now let's get another close-up shot. Wow. This is just amazing. I love having the sculpture up front and then having the sculpture in the back. It really does add a little bit more of a parallax effect. So let's do an in point there again with I. And I have a nice rotation there. So let's back this up a little bit using the left arrow key and do another out point there. Bring it onto our timeline. Set the speed back over to 50. Maybe we don't need it that much, so let's bring it back a little bit, and now let's see how this plays out. This is a cool clip because I do remember this statue when we first walked into the building, so let's set an in point and out point on this one. Let's scale it in a little bit and bring it up a little just so we are cutting out those people down below, and we are just going to change the speed again back to 50%. That looks really nice in my opinion, but in order to continue the same rotation here, I would like to rotate it the other way, so let's see if we can reverse this clip and get away with it. I think that works better in my opinion. So that's perfect, and now let's see what clip we can end our shot with here. This is a cool close-up clip of this sculpture right here, so let's add this clip in. And this clip we are gonna have to work with a little bit, so let's do my in and out point and drag it onto the timeline. And this clip unfortunately was shot at 24 or 30 frames per second, so we try to slow it down a little bit and CapCut might work its magic. I think we are just gonna have to stabilize it, but let's see how it works. Now this honestly isn't that bad. We do get a little bit of jitter, but let's see if we can go into video, and I do think CapCut, once we stabilize it, and I do believe that, yes, right here, this is the clip I want to do, is add motion blur. So CapCut is going to go in and analyze the clip to try to slow it down. There isn't frames for it to slow down, so it is going to use its own mechanism to create new frames to slow it down. The problem with that is you are going to get a little bit of stagger in between your shots. They do have this effect here called motion blur. And let's bring it down a little bit. I think by adding that, it is going to add a little bit of blur back into our frame here, and it is going to allow us to slow it down just a little bit. Let's see how it looks. Honestly, not bad. I would still use this clip here. Maybe just a short period, and for speed, I wouldn't probably go all the way down. Maybe I would bring this back up to 90% speed. Okay, let's see what other clips I could throw in for the end here. I do kind of want an epic shot to end this, so let's see what we are working with. There's one clip that I do remember shooting which kind of showcased a horse looking up, and it really gave us some magnificent power. And yes, this is the clip that I want to end my reel with, because this clip is magnificent, right? Like, I'm looking up at the sculpture, I'm in this massive room, and it's so inviting. The shadows look incredible. So let's drag this clip onto our timeline here. Perfect. And let's set this speed to 50%. And that should just bring us to the end of our music piece, which is perfect. Drag it out just a hair, and let's see how this plays back. I like that a lot. That's starting to look really nice. So let me click on this clip here, and I do want to stabilize it a little bit. Okay, so now we do have our last clip here, which looks great. So now I do want to go in to color grade the rest of these clips here. So if I go back through and I find a clip which does have my LUT already applied to it, I can right click it, come up here to copy attributes, and now I can select the clips which are not color graded yet, right click, paste attributes, unclip the video, audio, PC features, and just leave on adjustments, which is going to copy and paste the LUT and the adjustments which I did make. Press paste, and now you can see all of these clips are just as easily color graded using my LUT clean slate. And if I play this back, you can see that these clips look absolutely amazing. This LUT clean slate works very well with these clips because there is a lot of natural light coming in to this portion of the Louvre, which is really going to emphasize those shadows and those highlights which is being casted onto the sculptures here. And I think clean slate is the perfect choice for all of this footage right here. And my LUTs were specifically created for the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, so you can go through, you can test them out and see what works best for your footage. And if we will go back through here, I'll play you guys my final 41-second video, which is perfect for sharing on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. I did keep this in a horizontal format just because it does work a little bit better for YouTube, but you can easily go into CapCut and create a vertical video using all these same techniques, and it is going to work great for you. So here's the final video that we did create within a matter of a half an hour using CapCut and all the footage that I shot at the Louvre. Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys, for tuning in. I really hope you learned something and was able to pick up some tips and tricks while editing inside CapCut. Again, if you did like the color grading I was using, you can check out my LUT Pack in the description below. If you have any questions on editing or color grading or anything related to the Osmo Pocket 3, please ask in the comments section below. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok right here, and I did recently start a Substack, so check out that right here. Please like and subscribe to my channel because you know it helps my channel grow, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.